I'd like to call the regular board meeting of the Zion Park District dated April 16, 2020 to order. Eric, would you do the roll call?
Commissioner Pye.
Here.
Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Rivers.
Here.
Commissioner Hartman.
Here.
President Magiera.
Here. So we had minutes from the meeting that we had to approve from last month. I'll entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Personnel and Finance Subcommittee regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Zion Park District dated March 19th, 2020.
I'll go ahead and second that. I don't have it listed in front of me, so I'll go ahead and second it. I don't have the notes in front of me.
Carolyn so moved in it. I need a second.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull this up.
Can I get a second?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Rick. Any further discussion needed before we vote? Eric?
Commissioner Pye.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers.
Aye.
Commissioner Hartman.
Aye.
President Magiera.
Aye. Okay. Welcome, Christine Kay.
Hi.
And Marilyn, you said you did not have any emails that you needed to read?
I did not have any emails on public comment, no.
Okay. Are there any changes that we need to make to the agenda?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
So move.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion needed? Eric?
Commissioner Pye.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers.
Aye.
Commissioner Hartman.
Aye.
President Magiera.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any comments from any commissioners today?
Nope.
I would like to just say that thanks to the police staff, to Chad and his group for keeping everything going and smooth and, making sure that the parks are monitored. So thank him for us.
Yeah, well, they are doing a good job.
And for you, you and Eric and whoever else is manning the station. So thanks for keeping us informed of what's going on. All right, so anything from the attorney?
No.
Okay. All right, so now we have bills that we need to consider to pay. I'll entertain a motion. Does anyone have those figures listed?
I do, Rick.
Okay.
I make a motion that we pay the total unpaid bills of $91,407.65, the total paid bills of $120,516.18 for a grand total to be approved of $211,923.83.
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed? Okay. Eric?
Commissioner Pye.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Rivers.
Aye.
Commissioner Hartman.
Aye.
President Magiera.
Aye. Okay, on to the director's report.
Okay, including my written report. We are still under the stay-at-home order here in Illinois. Obviously, I don't know if anybody saw the news conference from the president, but he is leaving it up to the governors to decide what's happening in each state. I heard today that Wisconsin has extended their order to May 26th. I don't think Governor Pritzker has done anything for the state of Illinois past April 30th at this point. I think we probably can anticipate that he may extend it to some point, but I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. The maintenance staff are, all the full-time maintenance staff are getting back to work. As we move forward, we are going to have to take care of the grass in the parks. It's growing. We are addressing maintenance issues in the facilities so that we are ready if we do get the ability to move forward with facilities at the end of the month. We are only having full-time maintenance staff working at this point, and we'll continue to do that into the near future, at least until the end of the month, and probably longer depending on what the situation is going to be when they start to open things back up. There are staff that are working remotely. We are having Zoom meetings once a week with the supervisors. Everyone is working on, Christine has been working on the Facebook page and putting out interactive videos and opportunities for people to still recreate and to know what's going on with our park district. Trying to make daily decisions on what we're doing with programming and just getting prepared for what is going to come next. So a couple other things, I had sent you all an email about the county finance committee having a meeting today about property taxes. What came out of that meeting is that the finance committee is not going to recommend any change for the collections or distributions of property taxes. It still probably has to be discussed at the county board level, although some of the discussion was about whether they even have the authority to do anything with that. So I did get a response back from our representative, Brent Paxton, to my letter to him today. And so I asked him to just keep us informed if there was going to be further discussion about that at the full county board meeting. So I think that's good news for us at this point. And that's, I think, all I had.
Do you and Christine have a date where you have to make that final decision about your programming? Is there like a date you guys have?
Well, I'm going to meet with the administrative staff on Monday on a conference call to start talking about what are the possibilities. We still have spring programs that we were going to try to extend after the shutdown. We're getting closer to the point where those might run into summer programs. We're trying to figure out how to adjust schedules. We won't know that really until we know if they're going to extend the stay-at-home order. But we're trying to be somewhat flexible. Our summer brochure has not been printed because we're waiting to have a better idea on that. So right now we're kind of in a holding pattern, but we are going to have an admin meeting on Monday, as I said, and we're going to start talking about, what other park districts are talking about, what we're all going to webinars and reading the NRP blog and staying informed of is what other park districts are doing. Some of the big questions that we have are, what are we going to do about the pool? Is that something that really actually is going to be able to be opened? There's a lot of discussion about it. There are other park districts in Illinois and across the country that are not opening their pools and have already made those decisions. We feel like we need to make that decision probably in the next couple of weeks, whether we're going to, go to the expense of opening the pool. And so again, what's happening with the stay-at-home order and what kind of guidelines they're going to give us on how we're going to be able to open facilities. Are we going to be able to have groups of more than 10? That was one of the things I saw today from the president is, no groups more than 10. So how are we gonna, so we're gonna start talking about how do we manage that for day camp programs, which parents are going to be looking for if they're gonna go back to work. How are we gonna do, you know, summer baseball? Are we going to do that? There's a lot of programs that are already canceled, some that aren't, so there's still a lot up in the air, and so we haven't made those decisions. I heard that there's discussion about changing Nostalgia Days, one of the big special events in the city. We may have to really figure out what we're going to do on the 4th of July. I don't think that decision has to be made yet, but we're getting closer to making some kind of decision about that. Probably, again, once we get a little better handle on what the guidelines are going to be as we go forward. So we are wrestling with and trying to gather as much information as we can before we make those decisions. But those are coming soon, to, you know, needing to make them.
Besides the webinars that you're on, have you met with other park districts in the area just to see, you know, like what they're going to do, or you're kind of just waiting to see what the governor does?
Well, there's a lot of information that is getting passed around from different levels of park districts, from directors, you know, email communications. Mostly it's all remote because everybody is out of their offices. I know Kay has groups that she's been in, Christine, myself, Eric, you know, we're trying to be in touch with our neighboring park districts as much as we can about what is happening there. I did make the decision today to take the hoops down at the basketball courts. We had tried to just tie up the nets, but every place around us has taken their hoops, the rims down. And we did some investigation to find out what was being done, because that has been a huge gathering place for people, for kids that are out on their own, for adults that don't want to hear it when we ask them to leave the court. Enforcement is not something that the police want to be engaging in. They have much other bigger issues that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that with a discussion with the chief of police and our ranger police chief. And
Excellent.
so we're just trying to address things, you know, as we go.
Thank you.
Did you have something, Rick?
No, I just said excellent because, you know, open discussion, working with partners, you know, in the area, that's probably a wise decision.
Yeah, I really didn't want to have to take the rims down, but I didn't think it also would behoove us to be the only courts in the area that had rims. I thought that might really bring even more people to the park in doing things that are inappropriate at this time. The weather is starting to get warmer. We really don't want to have arguments with people. You know, I don't want to fine people. You know, we don't want to get into that kind of situation. So it was probably better. I don't know, it was a tough decision, but I did collaborate with others so that we could kind of think about what was best for the community.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right, so let's move on to new business. Marilyn, you want to, or Eric, who's going to talk about the budget and deferring those approvals?
Yeah, this was the meeting that we were going to approve the full budget after our budget meetings. Obviously, with everything that has gone on since the last, actually, we've been closed since the last budget meeting, basically. Eric and I went to a webinar that the Illinois Association of Park Districts put on, that Adam Simon from Ansel Glink did, about budgeting and, you know, during this, you know, unprecedented time. And we are good with not passing our full budget until the first quarter of the fiscal year. So that gives us until July 30th. We do have to have our budget and appropriation ordinance passed. It has to be open for public inspection for 30 days before we pass it, which would be at our July meeting. We would pass the budget and appropriation ordinance. So, you know, because we're not really sure how long this whole thing is going to go, we're thinking that we should just hold off, and we may have to make some budget adjustments for next year based on where we end up this spring with this closure and some of the projects that we had talked about doing, and whether we're going to go ahead with them or if we're going to change. One thing that did happen today, Eric and I got the final EAV. So that was helpful to us, the EAV, you know, the final levy stuff from the county. That was good, in good shape for us. So our levy had very little change. So that's just one piece that, you know, is about a month later than it normally is for us to work on towards the budget. So I think as long as you guys are all comfortable with that, we can wait until our June meeting to do the final budget approval.
Okay. All right. We don't need a vote. Moving on to the ordinance number 874.
Right. So I talked to Scott Puma, who we're working with at Ansel Glink now that Jim Rock is gone, and I said, you know, all we really need to have a meeting for this month in April was to make sure that we could get the bills paid. And he said, well, do you have a mechanism for paying the bills without having a meeting? And I said, no. So he wrote this ordinance so that if we have this situation arise again, it basically just states that the board is giving me the authority to at least pay the bills if we don't have a meeting, with the approval of the board president. And, you know, I just thought that was something that would be good to have in place. We probably won't use it again, but we could maybe in May if the order stays to stay in place in May. If there's nothing else that we need to do, we could, you know, not have a meeting. I could get the bills paid, and we would still approve them in the next month. So it's not like we would just go past it, but I just thought it was a good idea to have that in place as long as everybody's comfortable with that. Any questions about that?
Nobody has questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then I am going to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 874, the authority for executive director with the board president approval to pay the Zion Park District bills in this emergency time.
So move.
I'll second.
Any discussion needed? Eric, can you do the roll call?
Commissioner Rivers,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Pye,
Aye.
Commissioner Hartman.
Aye.
President Magiera.
Aye. Okay, so there's no other new business. So I will, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
No, hold on. I got to get one more thing.
What, we have one more thing?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Sorry, Jesse, I can't hand you a piece of paper.
There's nothing else on the agenda, Jesse. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No, it was just about taking public comment at my email address, and
Oh.
that we covered that at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so did I had someone adjourn for me? I entertained a motion.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.